Hey everybody, welcome back to another Wizards Lizard 2 game development live stream. I'm Jeff from Lost Decade Games. Thanks for being here. It's another wonderful Monday. To make games. So, with that said, let's do a quick recap of some of the stuff that has been happening. Last stream we talked about lights and other cool stuff like that. We specifically talked about the Light 2D package, I think, and some other techniques. Matt's been working on some more art throughout the week, and we are marching towards the Kickstarter campaign, which is going to launch on September 1st. So we hope you'll join us there. And I think today we're working on a couple different things. A lot of it is prep for the Kickstarter campaign, or just things I feel like working on. We'll see what happens. But in general, got to be marching towards that Kickstarter launch. So here we go. A couple new things. This is actually something that I like. I've been wanting to play around with more. Is these new tongues that Matt drew. These are some various tongue states that we might use in the game. I think they're all pretty fun. We got standard tongue, got the grippy hand tongue, another sort of grippy hand tongue, fist tongue, and then the poison tip tongue, which we're thinking right now is going to be some kind of a stun or something like that. Let's see. Woo. So here we are. I think today one of the things I wanted to work on. Oh, hey, we also got a little bit of a new walking animation. You can see the side here. Matt is working on the Raga movement animation, so from the side has been updated. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think today we're going to work on a little bit of kind of state visualization is what I call it, which is making sure that the player can see what's happening to their character on the screen. So like when you take damage, for example, you'll see that Raga has a red overlay, which indicates that he's taking pain, and then also he starts flashing. His alpha channel flashes up and down. I wanted to maybe play around with like freezing or something as well, but we'll see if we get to that. And then another thing I wanted to work on was some kind of scriptability stuff with the Kickstarter video. There's still some kind of storyline intro scenes I need to put together for that, so yeah, we might go play with that a little bit. So let's see, we'll jump into the stage. And so the stage scene, I don't know if I've shown this a whole lot before, but it's basically, it's kind of like my debug scenes, except for it's a little more complicated. It has a little bit more of the game going on. And so it's apparently broken, which we'll fix real quick. Purple jar. Sleep. No? Oh, this is the wrong project. There it is. Okay. So we're going to open the sleep scene, which is really just an XML file, which describes where things are. And I think what happened here is I renamed this to jar something. We'll call it jar A. And I don't think this exists anymore either. I turned that into a moving block. Oh, this scene doesn't have any lights in it at the moment, so we should fix that as well. We got the wizard. This is going to be, this is sort of like just a room in the house. Raga gets to sleep on the rug, which is all kind of fun. And he snoozes, has to take some Z's. That's another thing I need to fix too, actually. You can see that like when he leaves the rug, those Z's kind of persist for a second, which I would really not like that to happen. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is going to replace these. Actually, I need to fix these wall lamps. I don't think these wall lamps have been updated with the new lighting stuff. So we'll go into our prefabs, and those are going to be in props. And we got wall lamp. Yeah. And so these are actually using Unity lights, which we don't want. So we're going to let's just drag that guy over here, and we'll delete the light. And let's see here. We're going to add the light 2D light source. Drop it in there, and then we're going to make sure to zero it out right there. And then we're going to just kind of bump it up a little bit, maybe right about there. As for where the light source is originating from. So that looks good. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to choose probably yellow for this and scale it up maybe 3. I think 5 might be okay. What are the candles at? Candles also have a light source, so it's 10. So I should probably make those about equivalent for now. Oops, the wrong one. So we'll scale these guys up by 10. And that's just really going to be the distance or the radius that the light shines. So that looks pretty good. We'll go in here and zero out these guys. And we don't really need anything else here, I think. We can just apply that to the prefab and delete it. And now if we look in here, it should be, yep, the light sprite. And let's check out our, whoa, that's very intense. A little too intense, perhaps. So let's see. Let's go into our game objects. I've got the wall lamps here. Turn on gizmos so I can see what's happening. I guess it's not going to show me the gizmos. There we go. That's going to be the right-hand lamp, so we can go in here. And we're going to take the alpha channel down a little bit, which is how this particular plugin actually adjusts the intensity of the lighting. Hey, Faylight, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. It is like the podcast, yes, except for no Matt and visuals. See how that looks. We're gonna drop that down to about 150, and then on the alpha channel, let's see what the candle is doing as well. That one's got, I think this one, 200 actually. Okay, let's go with that for now. So we'll go back into props, and we'll go in here and let's change the alpha channel of this to 200, so it's not quite so bright. Let's see. And then we'll see what that looks like. This is really interesting behavior actually from the lighting system when you turn on gizmos. It appears to be using the gizmos as a light obstacle, which is really weird. You can see all those crazy lighting effects that are happening on the gizmos. So those are those lights. I think we're going to want maybe some other lights in this room too. Either that or we probably should expand these. Yeah, let's go like 15 by 15. See what that looks like. Still kind of dark. I think what I want to do though is I want to add some of these other lamps that I haven't used yet. Let's see. So let's go in here and images, props. And we've got these side wall lamps right here actually that I haven't really used yet. So the tiger hat has a, I think the actual origins of the tiger hat were that my wife and I were in San Francisco and we were at a hat shop in Fisherman's Wharf, and I was trying on all the different hats, and she was taking pictures of me, and I liked the one with the tiger, with me wearing the tiger hat, so I made it my avatar. And then I used it as my avatar for such a long time that it became a thing on the podcast for some reason. Okay, so we're gonna go in here and let's create another sprite. We're gonna drag that guy up there. We'll call that wall lamp side. And this is going to be interesting. Let's see where this guy is anchored, because this is going to have to anchor in a very specific spot. So it's anchoring right now on the left-hand side, which I don't think is completely what we want. Can we go like negative on the x-axis? Oh, we can. Okay. Well then, we'll have to play with that. And then we're also going to add the sprite depth component here. We're going to put this on the, well, let's see, this one is actually going to be on the wall, so we might want to kind of overlap other things. So we're going to make it a tall object, which is a little bit different than another lamp, but for the purposes of this, we want to kind of overlap things that might be above it. And we're going to add a light source, which is going to be this guy. Oops. Get in there. There we go. And we're going to zero that guy out. And then we'll go back in this one and we'll do the same thing another one did on the other one, where we want to adjust the positioning of the light source so that it looks like it's actually pretty good on the y-axis, maybe just a hair down. And maybe like just a little bit over on the x2. I guess this is like half of the light. Well, yeah, maybe right about there. We're gonna make it static. Wait, make the lamp static. Yeah, make the show lamp static as well. And let's see. We're gonna change this light to our yellow, and we're gonna make it 200 intensity. And everything else should be okay for now, as far as this thing goes. And then we're going to go back to our props, and we're just going to drop that in here. And now we have the wall lamp and the wall lamp side. I'm going to zero these guys out. And okay, so we can now delete this guy from the scene. Okay. Oh, I need to put it in the scene first. So a couple things. First, we're going to open up Sprite Tile, and we're going to open up the map that we're using for this guy, which is just a static map, because this stuff is meant for kind of like capturing video and stuff like that. So it's not procedurally generated. These kind of scripted scenes. I think it's in maps. I think it's Raga Room. Yeah. So again, this is Sprite Tile we're using here. I want to put some lights like on the side here. So let's try moving this thing. We're going to put a 24 there, and then we're going to change this to be a, what do we need to use here? Let's get rid of that code I'm not working on right now. Let's do 27. So we'll say object. Actually, we can just copy that. And we'll change this to wall lamp side. I'll change that trigger to 27. 27 corresponds to the trigger number that we're using in what's it called? In sprite tile. So we're going to change this to be 27 trigger, and then we're going to put another one on the other side right here, which is also a 27. And this is where our lights are going to show up right here, and right here. And then these 22s up here are the forward-facing lamps. So we'll save that, and we'll see what it looks like. Clearly that does not. It's not working. I guess I already have a 27. Really? Oh, I do. Got 27. Let's get rid of that. I don't know what that was doing. Something from before. But the other ones actually worked out okay. They're night spots at least. Although the lights are really small. I think I forgot to change the scaling of those lights. So what we'll do is go back in here. Yes, I did. So I think we made these 15 for the other lamp. So it should be a good starting spot. There we go. It's a little more, it's a little brighter down here, which is good. And let's see. Obviously, the positioning here is a little off. So there's probably a couple things we could do here. One would be I could actually move the lamps onto the wall side. Maybe that's what I'll do. Well, let's see. First, let's look at them right here. That's big. So when we put the wall lamp on like a specific XY, so let's put it on 2032, which is about where it's at. A tile will be centered on this as well. So really we want it to be, we want the sprite to be about half the width of the tile back. If that makes sense. So I guess the way we can do that here, we don't want the position. The position is going to change. We need to change the anchor point of the sprite. So we'll do that. Here we'll go into, is it props, wall lamp side, and this is we're going to change the anchor point. So the anchor point right now, this is going to be in the center, and what we really want is we want the center to be over this way a little bit. Oops, not that one. Let's see where it would be if it's on the right. I don't think that's going to be far enough, but just for giggles, let's see what it looks like. Probably going to have to mess with this a few times. It's closer. The other way to do this would be to have sub-objects. Maybe that's the best way to handle it. Because then I can offset the actual sprite from the parent where I want and not have to worry about this sprite anchoring. So maybe let's keep this on the left, sprite anchor. And let's just go in here and, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Props, wall lamp. Let's just create a empty game object. Actually, we want this to be the parent of these two. So we're going to drop that in there, and we'll call this sprite. Oops, I can't type. There we go. And we'll call this one. I think actually you're going to want to do this in 2 different steps. Make it wall lamp left and wall lamp right, just because it's easier to position that way. So when the wall lamp itself, let's say we'll put this at 2032. Ooh. And then we're going to want the sprite to be at Take negative. We want the anchor to be at, well, it's not going to be exactly -5. -0.5. No, not on the y-axis, the x-axis. Although at least now we can basically mess with it. So actually, I'm not going to do it here. It's going to be better if I first delete that prefab. And that's 0, 0. The light is good. We want that to be part of that, and then we'll create this as a prefab wall left, or wall lamp left. And then we can delete that guy. Get this one out. And back here, oops, I think I turned off the screen for a second by accident. I forgot that I have the scenes mapped to my function keys, and I used the function keys for a shortcut in Unity, and therefore it changed the scene. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it's not too disruptive. Alrighty, so let's go back into our thing and change this to wall lamp left now. And then we're going to want another one eventually for wall lamp right, but we're going to comment that out for now. And then we'll just put it back in there. Okay, so this will be a little bit easier now because what we're going to do is we're going to go into our game objects and we're going to find one of these wall lamps. Let's see. Wall lamp left. There's going to be that one. Okay. And then in our scene, we're going to be able to position the sprite wherever we want. So on the x-axis, you know, that's what we want. So we can actually zoom in here to like, there we go. It almost is 0.5, that's pretty good. Well, I feel like maybe 0.51, 0.52, 0.53. What does that look like in game? 0.5 is definitely a little too much. A little too far still. 0.2, oops, 5.2. 5.3 looks just about right. All right, I think that's pretty good. So since it doesn't save our runtime changes, we need to remember that it's -0.53, which is fine. So we'll go in here and change this guy to -0.53, and there we go. Excellent. Very nice. The only problem with this is that it's kind of got some weird overlap issues. Because technically, Raga should be behind the lamp where he's at, but it doesn't look very good because of the fact that like he overlaps the edges of the house a little bit, which is kind of a necessity just because, well, I guess I could do, if I did the house on different layers, then that would be well easier, and I might have to resort to that. But for now, actually, we're just going to pull the sprite down to a slightly lower level. We're going to put it on flat objects, I think, which means it will be under everything else, which won't be, you know, 100% correct all the time, but I think that it'll look a little better. Yeah, it's not super ideal, but might have to play around with that. The edges of the house are kind of a weird case in terms of overlapping. So, you know, like I said, like here you can kind of see like his face is overlapping the top of the doorway, and like really we'd probably want that to be on like a higher layer where or I wouldn't do that. But that would involve a little bit of work in terms of rejiggering how the sprite sheets work. Or not sprite sheets, but the time map works. Anyways, now that we've got that light in there, which looks pretty good, we're going to create basically the opposite, which is to say we're just going to duplicate this guy, I think. Can I? No. Okay, fine. Well, I'll drag it into the scene then, and I'll rename it to wall lamp right. And then what we're going to do with the sprite here is we're just going to scale the sprite by -1, which will flip it. And then we'll pull it down here. Now I've got the right-hand version. And we might have to mess with the offset of the sprite a little bit too, just because we'll probably need to be the opposite, right? Instead of -0.53, it'll probably have to be positive 0.53, so we'll see what that looks like. Oh, and I first need to probably put in the game. Yes, or I need to update the triggers in sprite tile is what I need to do. So instead of 27, this should be 28, because 28 is now our wall lamp right. Hey, Pika Shocks, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Okay, that didn't work at all. Oh, right, because I need to go into my XML file and uncomment out that thing. Okay, so I think it's actually just about where we want, except for it is a negative instead of a positive. So let's jump back into here, and we're going to adjust the position of the sprite. And really, all we're going to do is just remove that negative sign. I think it'll just work the way we want. So let's cross our fingers and hope that it's true. Yep, pretty nice. It's kind of behind this box though, so let's pull that box out real quick, or at least move it. Oops. Triggers, and so we're going to move this 23, going to zero that out, and we'll put this down more like in this corner, put a 23 there. Hey, Seaberry Monk, thanks for joining. There we go. So now we got the left and the right hand lamps working, so that's pretty cool. It's good to get those in, because up until now I've just only had these lights that were on the upper walls, and that's a little bit limiting, especially when you have a room like this where, you know, it's well lit up here at the top, but then as you get down to the bottom it looks really dark and not that great. So now we got the wizard here too. He's going to be part of this scene. So I think we're going to do a couple things to him too. Continuing on the lighting track, maybe we'll just give him some light as well. Oh yes, he is using the old lighting system as well, so this is a good opportunity to finish up converting all of our light stuff. So we're just going to delete that. Going to create a new light 2D and attach that underneath the wizard. There we go. And we're going to make his light, well, first of all, let's put it right there. We're going to make his light purple, because he's a wizard after all, that wears a purple robe. We're probably going to want this to be like at least 5 by 5. Let's see. Let's apply that. He's got this hover script I wrote too, which just kind of makes him do a sine wave between up and down. With all the other lights in the scene, though, it's kind of hard to see his, although it is also too bright. So we could scooch that down. Wonder what Raga's light is like, though. Let's see. His light is at 100. So let's make his 100 too, just for consistency for the moment. He's using the default light. Everything else looks good. And how much light does Raga have? His is a 50. His is a big light, but that's okay. I think we want to keep his pretty big. Well, we might want the wizards to be just a little bigger, maybe like 10. A little bigger than it is now, just so that it kind of spreads out. The way these sprites work, if you take them at one to one scale, then the point, the most intense part of light is pretty small, and if you scale them up, then that really intense circle gets a little bit bigger. So that's a little better. You can kind of see where he's at. The other thing we could do is we could comment out these lights for a second. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll put all these lights up together in the same area, and I'll uncomment them all together. Oops, don't pause. So now we can see what it would look like independent of the lights in the room. I feel like maybe it could be a little bigger. So let's find the wizard in here. Let's look at his light. Maybe we do want to make it as big as Raga's. 15 by 15. Looks a little more red than purple. Yeah, it's like multiplying with the background. So like the purple and the brown kind of make this reddish color. That'll be red, gray, orange, green. Could make it pink. It doesn't have to have an actual purple light, because purple doesn't look that good in that particular scenario. Give him a black light. Blue doesn't look terrible, actually. That's a little too bright. The dark blue kind of works, although it doesn't look all that lit. Let's say we do want this to be more like 100 on that. Let's see what that blue would look like. I like the cool colors for the wizard because it kind of makes him look a little more mysterious. And I don't know, maybe the reddish is okay. The reddish multiplication. I think something else I want to do with the wizard too is give him some particle effects to make him look like he's magic-y. Maybe the same particle emitter that we have on the knives, which is really just, let's see, if I can drag this guy in here, and can I just duplicate this? Duplicate, yep. And then we'll pull that into the wizard himself. And we'll call these shine, oops, shine. And I kind of want this to be like here. There we go. Maybe what we'll do with this guy, let's see what his renderer looks like. Shape is an edge. And so maybe we'll just move this down a hair. And we'll increase the lifetime. And then we can also change this to be like, yeah, like 0.75. So we're changing the width here of the particle emitter for the wizard shine. Hey, welcome, Sarah Light. Welcome to the stream. Thanks, the webcam is looking better. I think that I got a new green screen, and I put it farther back from me, and so it creates less of like this greenish hue coming over like the edges of myself, and so it's easier to kind of mask that out. Still though, I do need like some better lighting actually. Like I need some lighting that's going to light the green screen just itself to kind of get that very consistent green color on it. Anyways, it's a big process. Green screening. Okay, so we got some cool effects on the wizard. We won't spend too much time on him right now. Just some few things, and we'll apply that, and then we'll delete him from here. Hey, AG McLeod, thanks for joining, man. Good to have you here. So now we've got the wizard, and he's kind of sparkly, which is fun. He floats up and down. So that's cool. Can always tweak that too later to make him feel a little better, but that's a good start. So we'll put our lights back in. It's actually easier to see the particles a little bit now with the more lit room, I think. Yeah. Alrighty. So a lot of this stuff in here is kind of from before, so I want to make sure I want to keep all this stuff. So let's just add some comments to make sure I know what I'm doing in the future. So we got lighting, and then we've got some props in the scene. Oops. So like the rug and the bookshelf and the crates and the jars, and then we're not using the sports ball here, and then the house plant can go up here with the other props. Oops. And then we've got characters. Okie doke. So the basic idea with these scenes is that I use these for creating video. So like what I would do is I kind of start it right here, and I build the game, and it would go full screen. And I use fraps to capture the video. So I'd start right here, and I'd kind of move Raga into the room. Or actually, in this scene, I think we'd start with him sleeping. And so then we want the wizard to appear at some point. Excuse me. So yeah, the thing with this scene is it's been kind of like an introductory thing, and so we want the wizard to kind of pop in. So we maybe don't want him to appear right away. So let's see. We are going to remove him from the initial objects, and I think I did like a trigger setup on a different one of these. Is it this the boss? Oh yeah, the trigger. Okay, that's how I did it. So what I'm going to do is actually instead of that, this one doesn't necessarily need to have a specific position, but we're going to give it a position just because otherwise we won't be able to instantiate it. So we're going to call this triggers sleep for now. And really all this is going to be is a invisible prefab that really just does some manipulation of the game objects. Oh, the object doesn't exist yet. Yeah, makes sense. So we're going to create an empty game object. We're going to call it sleep. And we're going to drop it into this triggers folder. And so this one actually has a collider on it because it activates. This is a different scene, but it activates when the player moves over it. This one, though, I think is just going to activate on a timer. And so what we're going to do here is go in here. We're going to create a script for it. And it's going to call it, actually, whoops. We want to put it in triggers. I'll clean up that other file later. So sleep. And then here we're going to add the script component. Hello? Sleep. There we go. And then in our prefabs for triggers. Oh, we already have one. Well, I have another one. We'll delete that just to make sure. Great. So it has that script. We can delete this one from the scene. And just to make sure this is working, we're going to open this up and we're just going to do a debug.log test. Get rid of that junk. And so when we start the scene, we actually should have yes, test. Great. And in this case, the wizard is not going to be here anymore because we have this trigger where he used to be. The other thing we want to do is we want to have Raga start on the rug, probably. So in here, we're going to change his player start to something more like 10. Let's see what that looks like. No? Well, let's go more like 20. He's way off the map right now. No, wait, 25? Right smack dab in the middle? Yep, there we go. It's about 26. I think it might be a little bit too high. Yeah. Maybe I should have more control over this. I wonder if I could do like 25.5. I wonder if my code will just have that work. Nope. It's an int. Okay, well, this is fine for now. I might work on making that a little more flexible in the future, but because I feel like, ideally I'd like him to be like just right there. Could have to do with the sprite anchoring though. So Asura Light is asking if I make the own art. I do not. Actually, Matt Hackett is my business partner, and he does all the art for our games. So I don't draw. Well, I do, but I do it badly. He does it well. So the next thing we want to do is we want to, basically have some scriptability here, and so just use Unity scripts for that because it's easy, and I just use a function invocation. So I can say like call a function called spawn wizard, and then we can have a private function here called spawn wizard, and in there we'll just say game object manager, which instance, which is a singleton that we have here. Well, hey Salmon Moose, thanks for coming by. He asks if can you not grab the position of the rug? Not in this particular instance, because the way that I'm doing it is by leveraging the sprite tile triggers, and so the sprite tile triggers are just on specific, or I'm using just kind of ints for the tile placement. Also, he actually is being spawned on the exact same tile, but due to sprite alignment, I think is why it looks different. So there's definitely many ways to skin that cat, probably. Errors. What? Oh, right. I need to give it a time. How about let's give it 2 seconds just for now. Oh, and then here, let me bring up the game object manager thingy that I wrote. So I can spawn it at a specific space. So we're going to say characters wizard, and we're going to spawn it at, let's see where that he used to spawn. I think it was at, well, wherever 25 is. Wherever trigger number 25 is at. which is at 2223. Although we probably want it to be a little higher. So let's make it more like right here, which is 2225. Right? Yeah, 2225. So we'll put 2225. Those are the coordinates we're going to spawn the wizard at after a 2-second delay. So let's see if that works. So he's sleeping, pops in the wizard. Great. However, that looks pretty janky because it just kind of pops in there. So we're going to use our tweening stuff. Let's see. I thought I had squishy up here. Yeah, there it is. Excuse me. Not enough coffee today. So we'll say effects dot squishy appear, and then this is going to be game object wizard, and then we're going to pass the wizard there. And let's see how that looks. There he goes. That's a little better. So he kind of like has a little tweening effect as he comes in, which is kind of cool. So we'll look at that one more time. Whoop. I think when I talked to Matt about this, we were thinking about having a like some kind of puff of smoke or something, which actually maybe we can do that now. I think Matt gave me some particles. There's a puff. So what we could do is we could just like create a bunch of maybe smoke particles. Let's try it and see what it looks like. Let's experiment. I don't know if this is exactly how it's going to go, but we're going to grab this thing, put it in here, and let's add a particle renderer to it, particle system. Oh, I have to keep zooming out, all crazy like. And let's do the same thing we did before with making it an edge. I find that the edge actually works really well in 2D. Especially for stuff that's kind of like in this perspective, you know, because it looks like things are kind of moving up over the character or whatever. The next thing we're going to do actually is create a new material for this puff. So we're going to create a material, and then we're going to call this puff. And this is going to be a particle alpha blended for now. And where's that particle at? Let's see. Particle? No. I guess puff. There we go. So that's sort of what it'll look like in game. Let's see. So if we go here and we go down to the particle system renderer, we can change this to be puff. Excuse me. I don't think we want this thing to loop. Mission though, I think that we do want, based on time 0, 30. Because what I kind of want is I want like a bunch of them to kind of appear. And then maybe for the sprite to appear after that. Although, we'll see. We will see. The other thing we want to do is actually give this thing a public variable, public game object. Actually, we'll call it particle system, particles, and then here we can say puff. And then in here, we're going to drag that particle system there so we can easily reference it from the script. And then when we spawn the wizard, First thing we're gonna do maybe is start puffs. Maybe we'll do that at the 2-second mark. I'll spawn the wizard at the 3-second mark. Private void start puffs. Oops, and then we can just say particles.play, and that'll start our particle emitter cranking away. This is a 0, 0. Okay, so we're just going to apply that, and we're going to see what that looks like in game. Oops, I shouldn't move. Didn't do anything. It's probably because, well, one, I want to, I mean, that should have worked actually. Let's see, let's take that out for now. Oh, I know what the problem is. The problem is that the particles are not in the right layer. So they are behind everything right now. So we want to bring them up to the particle level. And I probably need to apply that prefab before I, there we go. So it's not looping. 5 seconds. We can probably take that out for now. 10 particles per second for 5 seconds. I think is what we're getting here. Starting a little bit too early though. Oh, I think because it's played on awake, yeah. So we won't do that. Why is it still playing awake? Oh, God. I always forget to apply stuff. It's the death of me. There we go. So that needs to look a little bit better too. 1, I think I want to bring the speed of those guys down. 2, I don't want them to last as long. Maybe like 2 seconds from now. And let's see, I also want to do size over lifetime. Yeah, I want to do a burst. I also want them to kind of ramp up to like bigger maybe. Start with 2. Starts at 1. Oops. That's good for now. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, once again, completely failed to apply my changes. Yeah, I do want to burst Salmon Moose, as he recommends. The other thing is I want to have these things fade out over time, so let's go to color over lifetime, and we'll change them to, oops, gradient is fine. I want to fade them all the way to 0 alpha-wise. Yeah, I saw your YouTube video, Salmon Moose, of particles. Looks pretty cool. Those don't look like they are fading. Oh man, did I not apply it again? Jeez. There we go. Great. So I think the way to do the bursts, and you know, people can correct me if I'm wrong, but in emission here, I think maybe I should set that to 0 so I don't confuse myself. And at 0 seconds, I can start 3 of them, or 30 of them. Okay. So does the rate affect how fast that burst spawns? So like if I bring this up to like, say it's 1,000. Oh no, I didn't apply. Damn it. I didn't, did I? Nope. Sunny, was that Sunnery? Sunrunnery. Welcome to the stream. We're using Unity actually. So nothing happened. Okay. So setting the rate to 0 definitely makes it so nothing happens. I think. Oh no, there it goes. I just missed it before. Okay. So actually that kind of does do what I want it to do. Although I feel like what I probably want is a couple of bursts. So maybe I did miss it. I was reading chat and not paying attention. So let's check out maybe a couple different bursts. So we'll say like 0.1. Oops, no, not 1 second. 0.1. Another burst of 30. Oh, put some variation of speed. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should try that. Yeah, because I don't think that I probably forgot to apply again. Let's see. Yeah, so, okay. So inherent velocity. I actually haven't messed with the velocity of particles before. So would I do that in velocity over lifetime maybe? Local world. I think that random between two constants. What do we have right now? 1 or none? Start speed. Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, that's what I want. Let's try random between two constants. So I can do start speed of 2 and 1. Let's try that. And then, of course, we'll double apply just to make sure it works. Yeah, that's a little better. And I think for the emission, I think I like the idea of one burst for this guy. Oh, I did not apply, did I? No. I guess I can just test it here. It's probably easier. Aha. Look at this. I'm learning. So now the other thing is I would actually like them to maybe spread out along the x-axis. And maybe a little bit faster, actually. It's like doesn't look quite fast enough for my purposes. So we'll change the start speeds between like 3 and 4, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's looking a little better. Kind of spreads them out a little bit more. Let's see, what else can we mess with here? The color, size, rotation. That's probably good enough for now. Simon Moose says that getting it to spread on the x-axis is tricky. Ended up using a cone emitter. I was thinking about messing with that too. Although, this kind of puts us in the realm of 3D land. Because really what we want is we want this thing to rotate. No, it's not what we want it to be. We want it to be. There we go. That's the direction I want to rotate on. So is it like negative 45? No. Um, 92, 90 maybe? I think 90 is negative 90 is probably what we want. There we go. Right, yes. Samuel says to keep in mind that he's working in actual 3D, which is true. We are working in, well, we're actually working in real 3D, but not using a whole lot of 3D assets. Excuse me. I feel like, though, this should kind of do what we want. Because, whoa. There we go. Hey, Cobra Sonic, thanks for joining. I totally did not commit that either. Let's go back into 2D mode. So that kind of works. Could change that cone a little bit. There we go. Maybe too much there. Stop, simulate. I think I want just a little bit of spread. Oops. Okay, let's try this out. So we got this. So where is the actual anchor on this thing? Just for my own curiosity. I guess it is at the bottom of the cone, so that makes sense. Okay, so let's apply that guy, and then we'll go into the game. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. The other thing that we might want to do here actually is change the rotation. I can change the rotation over time, right? Yes, I can. Rotation over lifetime. Angular velocity 45. Let's see what that looks like. That looks fine to me. I just want a little bit of a, well, actually what I'd like to do is random between two constants. How about negative 45? Can I do that? Negative 45, not 25, and 45. So that should make some of them move, rotate left, and some of them rotate right. And yeah, stuff. So that was pretty good. Alrighty. Check that out again in game. Yeah, they actually are growing over time right now. They are scaling up from like 1 to 3, I think. And then let's go back in here and let's spawn our wizard. So actually, we can maybe do this at the same time. Let's see what it looks like if we just do it right away. So if we just call spawn wizard at the same time, let's see what it looks like. Ooh, I like how the lighting affects those particles. Definitely want to offset that a little bit. This is the fun stuff where, like, I kind of know the effect that I'm going for, but I don't necessarily know exactly all the little pieces that'll make it look the best. So I'm kind of playing around with just different delays to see if that looks how I want it to look. That's not bad. I wonder if it's worth like having a second particle emitter that would kind of like, I don't know. Might end up having to use a sprite for that too, kind of like our explosion. So Salmon Moose is asking, could you create a game object and put an animation on it and then set animation triggers to set up events? That's a really interesting idea. I guess it kind of comes down to, so I guess, let's see, let's experiment with that. You would add a, actually no, you would add a animator component here. And then we would create an animator controller. Let's see. I don't know. Getting off track is what this stream is all about. So we could call this like sleep trigger, just for now, and sleep trigger, and then here. I have to create a clip called animations sleep trigger, and then we have, let's go down to like 10 frames. So this would be like the 1 second mark. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you could do it. Like you could just add an animation event right here. Although, when you have to add a keyframe first, so maybe we'd have to add a keyframe here. Because it seems like add a keyframe. Seems like you could do it. I was kind of wondering if it would just play the animation if it didn't have any properties changing here, but it looks like it might. Anyways, I actually will let you play with that, and I will not worry about that right now. It could be interesting, although I think it might be kind of difficult to. I don't know about difficult, but it would definitely be a different experience than just tweaking the values right here. Oh. Where did all that UI come from all of a sudden? Oh, I'm in the game view, that's why. I'm kind of liking the how that smoke is working out, but the initial burst I don't love. I'll have to get Matt's artistic opinion on it too, since he is the guy that does most of the graphics and stuff. So, but in general, it's looking okay. I think like the really cool like smoky burst is something that's going to be difficult to do with the particle system as is. Although I do like the way those puffs look. So I'm going to delete the sleep trigger and the sleep trigger controller. We won't worry about those. We'll let Salmon Moose do a video on it, and then we'll learn from him, and then we'll implement it if necessary. Make him do all the work for us. That's the way to do it. So I think this thing is, in terms of playing with the particle effects, I think this is good to go for now. So we're just gonna make sure we apply it, and then I'm gonna delete it because it's already a prefab. So the next thing that we want to do here is, this is the part of the scene that I'm not 100% sure how I want to express yet, but we want the wizard to be able to direct Raga to do something. Basically, we want some kind of like pseudo dialogue. And for this particular video, we don't actually want like a lot of text to read, so we kind of just want to get the feeling of, hey, I need you to like go do something for me. Basically, the wizard has a task for Raga, and so Raga needs to wake up. The other thing I want to do, I guess I can work on this part too, is I want to use the emote system that I wrote for Raga to show surprise. It would actually be pretty cool if Matt would draw us like a frame of him with his eyes open. And so let's go into this. I have this little emote system here, which is a component that really just has like these, what I'm calling emotes, but they're like exclamation marks or question marks and stuff like that. So what we can do here is in start, let's create a private emote Raga. Oops, not rage. I always mistype Raga as rage. I don't know what that says about me. And we want to say Raga emote is equal to GameObject.find Raga get component emote. Actually, get component in children, because the emote is actually a separate game object. And then when the wizard spawns, we want to also say Raga emote dot, let's go with exclamation. Hopefully that'll work the way I want it to. We'll see. We will see. Oh, there it goes. The other thing we could do is move it to when the smoke starts. Let's see what that looks like. I feel like it's a little too early. I also don't like it happening right away, so I think what I'm going to do is just put this in a separate function called Raga emote, and then we'll just invoke that after, let's say 0.5. Hey, Snowsong87, thanks for joining. He asks, or they ask, sorry, I shouldn't assume. Is this the first game also made in Unity? Yes, this is the first game for Lost Decade games that will be made in Unity. So there's definitely some learning that's going on. I like that a little better. The timing works a little better for me. You know, because he shows up, poof, and then Raga kind of gets jolted awake. And let's see. Hey, Liquid Mallet, thanks for joining as well. Also says, love your podcast. Sweet to see you on Twitch. Thanks. It's kind of fun, right? It's like a visual podcast, and there's no Matt to mess it up. I kid. Sort of. Let's see. So the other thing I want to do is, I'm also going to call this like stop sleep. Maybe I'll stop it right here. Remote.stop sleep. I don't think Matt's in the chat today, so I can talk all the trash I want. At least I haven't seen him chatting. Maybe he's lurking, and all these things I'm saying are going to come back to haunt me tomorrow on Lostcast. But I won't tell him if you don't tell him. We'll just pretend that I sung praises about his great art all day. I like that. Twig, thanks for joining. Asks, what kind of animal is your hat? It is a tiger. It is a tiger hat. So it's got a little face. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's got eyes and it's got a crazy tiger mane because, you know, apparently tigers have like lion manes. I don't know. I got it at the San Diego Zoo, and I'm going to trust that they know what tigers look like. I've been thinking about wearing my other tiger hat. I want to wear the bigger tiger hat next week, maybe. I also want to get a tiger beanie. I think that would go well. I have like this tiger ball cap. I have like the big tiger hat with the kind of arms that hang down. I need a tiger beanie. This one's actually kind of like a tiger visor, to be honest. Like the actual hat part is like, you know, like a tennis visor or something, and then the top just has like this crazy orange hair. Tiger brand coffee is a real treat. Even tigers prefer coffee to real meat. Agreed. Coffee is the, you know, life force of the universe. Hey, so Wurzy PHI, Wurzelfi, thanks for joining. They ask, why did you move away from HTML5? It's mostly, I think the best way to put it is that when we're developing games primarily for native desktop, we wanted to use something that was a little bit more geared towards that. And HTML5 has a lot of cool things going for it. And I think that if I was making anything web first, I would definitely use that. But because our biggest market right now is on Steam and native desktop, that's what we're focusing on. And there's a lot of headache to be avoided by using something like Unity for that, because we also want to be on consoles like we had, you know, HTML5. It's possible to put it on consoles, like Wii U has the Nintendo Web Framework, but I think PlayStation actually doesn't have any support for web-based stuff, and Xbox One may or may not. But anyways, the long and short of it is that you can make HTML5 work on a variety of platforms, including native desktop and including consoles, some consoles. But it's a huge pain in the butt. And maybe it'll get easier in the future, but Unity is easy right now. And we want to make games, not screw around with tech as much. So, and Unity does a lot of cool things that some of the HTML5 engines just don't do yet. So now Unity's HTML5 support is apparently abysmal. So if we were going to do anything where web was a very important target, you know, I don't think that that would be something. I mean, that would just be a different consideration, right? So that's that. Hope that answers the question. I think it kind of comes down to like use the right tool for the job. And in this case, making games for desktops, the better tool I think is something like Unity. I'm not gonna say it's the best game engine ever, but it's certainly a much more streamlined process than, you know, HTML5. Because while things like Atom Shell, or I guess it's called Electron now, and NWJS are good, they still require a lot of like screwing around to get them to work correctly, if that makes any sense. Salmon Moose says you should try to export once in a while. You may be surprised. I assume you're talking about WebGL, maybe. I actually haven't tried to export this program. Oh no, I did. I tried to a while ago. I'm mostly talking about just like news articles and stuff that I've read recently where people are talking about the WebGL capabilities of Unity and how like the JavaScript that it produces is just very bloated and stuff like that. And I think that some of that comes down to what I read was that Unity, coming from Mono/C Sharp, it goes from Mono to C Sharp to Nscriptum to JavaScript. And so I don't know. I won't pretend to know everything. I'm wearing my tiger hat, so I'm allowed to just rampantly speculate. Also got a text from Matt. He says that he just pushed some new walking graphics. So we're going to pull those and see what he's talking about. Yeah, it could be that the WebGL support is just not as bad as people make it out to be. I think, yeah, the Mono is a framework, not a language. I just mean that, like, it's C# running on top of the Mono libraries. And so you have to convert those Mono libraries, which are in C# to whatever your target platform happens to be. In this case, WebGL. So I guess JavaScript. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a look first at the actual images themselves. Oh, there we go. Oh, they're all updated. Look at that. We haven't had a consistent set of moving graphics in a while, so check those out. Whee! The triggers are all still firing. That's pretty good. Left and right looks pretty good. Like how his tail wags. I think we need some head bobbing, perhaps. I'll have to tell Matt that later. A little bit of head movement, I think, would go a long way in making those walking animations look better. Sleep. Anyways, yeah. Again, the thing with the WebGL is that I'm not that concerned about it because right now the web is not one of our biggest monetization channels for our games, and so I certainly would like the capability of outputting it to web probably, but if there isn't an easy and streamlined way for us to monetize that, we're probably not going to care too much at this point. I know that some games like what's that game from Clay? Don't Starve. Don't Starve seems to be on the Chrome Web Store, but I don't know how popular it is. I would be really interested to know how much money they're making from that web store presence. Is it like a good upsell to the PC version or to the native desktop version, or do people just play it in the browser? Is it worth the time? Is it worth the money? Who knows? All those things are pretty interesting. So, pretty cool. I think that basically we're going to wrap up the stream there tonight. So, made a little bit of progress. Definitely have a decent looking wizard intro. We got Raga emoting that the wizard just popped up, so that's kind of cool. The next step here would probably be to have I'm thinking maybe next time I'll work on, or maybe during this week, I'm going to work on a little dialogue pop-up. On a previous stream, I had kind of like a more like JRPG style dialogue window coming up, but I kind of don't love that, and so we might work on something that's going to be like a speech bubble above his head, and so maybe that'll pop up right above his head, and we can fill it with some kind of icon to indicate that he's sending Raga on a mission, and then Raga can jump up, hey, or he can question mark emote. Forgot I had that hotkey in there. What? What do you want, wizard? What do you want? Leave me alone. And then he can run off into the next scene, which is Oh, the end of the world. Oh no. Raga's in the black abyss of nothingness. Where's he going? Who knows? Nobody knows. Anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out. It's always great to hear your guys' opinions and feedback, and I'm always happy to answer questions about Unity and stuff, and HTML5, of course. So thanks again. I'm going to export this to YouTube, which I actually forgot to export last week's video last week, which I am doing now, but takes several hours. So look for both those videos later this week. Don't forget to catch Lost Cast tomorrow, brand new episode. And get ready for Wizards Lizard 2 Kickstarter coming September 1st. And thanks for hanging out. Ship it.